Notre-Dame de Paris by Victor Hugo, Book 1, 6, La Esmeralda. We are delighted to have to inform our readers that throughout this scene, Gringore and his play had stood firm. His actors, spurred on by him, had not left off reciting his drama, nor had he left off listening to it. He had resigned himself to the din and was determined to see it through to the end, not despairing that the audience's attention might return. This glimmer of hope was revived when he saw Quasimodo, Copinole, and the deafening cortege of the fool's pope noisily leaving the hall. The crowd rushed eagerly after them. Good, he said to himself, the troublemakers have all gone. Unfortunately, the troublemakers were the whole audience. In a twinkling, the great hall was empty. In actual fact, there were still a few spectators left, a few individuals, the rest collected around pillars, women, old men, or children who had had enough of the din and the disturbance. A few students were still astride the entablatures of the windows, looking down into the square. Oh well, thought Gringore, there are still as many as we need to hear the end of my mystery. There aren't many of them, but it's an elite audience, a literate audience. A moment later, and a symphony which was to have produced a great effect at the arrival of the Holy Virgin failed to sound. Gringore realized that his orchestra had been let off by the Pope's procession. Keep going, he said stoically. He approached a group of burgesses who seemed to be discussing his play. The snatch of conversation he caught went as follows. Do you know the Hotel de Navarre, Matry, Chanetou, which used to belong to Monsieur de Nemours? Yes, opposite Barrack's chapel. Well, the Treasury has just leased it to Guillaume Alexandre, the historyfier, for £6 8 a year. Parisis. Rents are getting dear. Come on, said Gringore to himself with a sigh. The others are listening. Comrades, one of the young rogues in the casement suddenly shouted, La Esmeralda! La Esmeralda is in the square. This word had an effect like magic. All those still in the hall rushed to the windows, clambering up the walls so as to see, and repeating, La Esmeralda! La Esmeralda! At the same time, a loud applause could be heard from outside. La Esmeralda, what does that mean? Said Gringore, wringing his hands in distress. Oh dear, it seems to be the window's turn now. He turned to the marble slab and saw that the performance had been interrupted. This was the precise moment when Jupiter should have appeared with his thunderbolt, but Jupiter was standing motionless at the foot of the stage. Michael Giborne, cried the poet in vexation, what are you doing there? Is that your role? Go up. Alas, said Jupiter, a student's just taken the ladder. Gringore looked. It was only too true. All communication between his plot and its resolution had been severed. The scoundrel, he muttered. Why has he taken the ladder? To go and see La Esmeralda, answered Jupiter piteously. He said, I say there's a ladder not being used, and took it. This was the last straw. Gringore accepted it with resignation. Go to the devil, he said to the actors. If I get paid, you will be. He then made his retreat, head bowed, but the last to leave, like a general who has put up a good fight. And as he was going down the winding stairs from the palace, a fine herd of clods and donkeys, these Parisians, he grumbled under his breath. They come to hear a mystery and don't listen to a word. They show interest in everyone. Clopin, Trulifo, the Cardinal, Copinole, Quasimodo, the devil, but not in the Virgin Mary. I'd have given you Virgin Marys, you gawpers, if I'd known. I came to see faces, and I only saw backs. I'm a poet, and I have as much success as an apothecary. True, Homerus begged round the Greek villages, and Naso died in exile among the Muscovites, but the devil skin me if I understand what they mean with their Esmeralda. What is the word, first of all? It's Egyptaic. And that is the end of the 6th section of the first book, and it's also the end of the first book.